welcome back for those who already ride for me, and welcome to the newcomers. Today I want to talk to you about how I lost 35 pounds. If you've already watched my previous video on weight loss, then you already know that I have lost 35 pounds and I'm in the midst of the second half of my weight loss journey, which is another 35 pounds. I went from 215 pounds to 180 pounds. So I have hit a new low weigh-in, but I'll leave all that for another video coming soon that I'm working on for you all. But right now we're just going to be talking about that first 35 pounds that I lost and how I lost it. To end up at 180 pounds from 215, it wasn't this, like, I know a lot of people can get on here and talk about like this straight path that they took. They did this every day and this is exactly what they ate and this is exactly how they worked out, and pretty much that's how I lost the weight. But for me, it was more trying to find what was working for me, trying to find what I liked and trying to find what worked best for me. And so as you're gonna see here, it's a mix of a few different things. The first 10 pounds I lost, so this got me from 215 pounds to 205 pounds. What I did was I stopped eating as much. That was the first thing. Let me tell you what I used to eat. And this is how I gained all the weight to begin with. Before I got up to 215, I was something like 170 pounds. And then I blew up. Now let me tell you the kind of stuff I was eating. I was eating 3 times a day. I had to have dessert like 3 times a day. I was eating those donut sticks. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but they have like those little donut sticks that you can like dip in your coffee or milk or whatever. I was eating like a box of those every single day, no joke. I was eating honey buns. I mean, pretty much just the sweets. I like the bready, doughy sweets. I used to love popping them in the microwave and have them nice and warm, or putting them in the oven, and nice warm sweets. It would be like after breakfast, okay, I gotta have dessert. After lunch, okay, I gotta have dessert. After dinner, I gotta have dessert. And so I was eating just a ton of sweets, and that's how I ended up blowing up to 215 pounds. And my regular food, of course, I love Mexican food. I was eating, you know, cooking tacos and enchiladas and all kind of different variations of Mexican food, of course piling it with sour cream and cheese. When I first started the journey, I didn't really cut anything out. I just cut back on everything. So I didn't stop eating donuts altogether. I just stopped eating a whole box a day. That was how I changed my diet in the beginning. And then I became more active. I got moving, and it was taking 2-mile walks. The person I was with at the time was kind enough to go with me on these walks about 2 to 7 times a week. Cutting back on what I ate and taking 2-mile walks 4 to 7 times a week is what helped me lose that first 10 pounds. And I think it took me maybe 2 or 3 weeks to lose that first 10 pounds. Okay, so now this is interesting. The second 10 pounds I lost, I was watching this girl on YouTube. Oh, I think her name is Rocio Lara or something like that. Lara Rocio. But she was talking about how she lost, I don't remember exactly how much she lost, but she was talking about how she lost some weight doing the military diet. And I had never heard of this. And it seemed fairly easy, and I'm like, you know, why not? Let's give it a try. I did a little bit of research, and I heard some people say it didn't work for them at all. I heard some people say it worked for them at first, but then they gained it all back literally like a week later or something like that. But there were some people, including her, that said they did end up losing a good amount of weight, and they were able to keep it off. So I'm like, you know, let me just go ahead and give it a try. So for the next 10 pounds, I did do the military diet twice. You can Google it or YouTube it, but pretty much you do the military diet in like rounds. I think it's, from what I remember, I think it was like 3 or 4, I think it's 3 days of eating a certain kind of way, and then you take some time off. Like I think you take 4 days off, and then you can do another round of it. You can do 3 days again. So I did that twice, and altogether I ended up losing 10 pounds. So that was 2 weeks, 10 pounds, and I didn't gain any of that weight back. And this is how I believe I didn't gain any of it back, because afterward I did a little bit more research, and more often people end up gaining all that weight back on the military diet. But I think the reason I kept my 10 pounds off was because I started doing treadmill jogging at around that time as well. So my boyfriend at the time and I, we were still doing our walks, but we kicked it up. Our walks went from 2 miles to probably between 5 and 10 miles each time we would go walk. So I also give credit to that when it came to keeping that second 10 pounds off. The last 15 pounds, I wanted to kind of figure out a lifestyle change that I would be able to continue after I lost the weight, and I wouldn't feel like, oh, if I just start back eating the way I want to, then I'm just gonna gain all this weight back. I wanted to kind of just change the way that I lived completely, to where this is how I can see myself living from here on out. The last 15 pounds that I lost, I did it with intermittent fasting, which I absolutely love. It's a part of my life. It will always be a part of my life. I certainly give a huge credit to intermittent fasting when it comes down to that last 15 pounds. Another thing that I give a huge credit to, I cut way back on processed sugar and processed carbs. So those donuts that I told you I absolutely loved, I had to cut those pretty much completely out. Like, I don't really eat donuts anymore. I might have a donut once a month. I try to stay away, like I said, from processed carbs like pastas, breads, tortillas, pretty much any processed sugar. I don't drink juices, or I definitely don't add sugar to my teas or anything like that. Now, if it's a birthday or something like that, I'm gonna have some cake. I'm not taking this to an extreme, but just on my day-to-day, in my day-to-day living, I pretty much really avoid processed carbs and processed sugars. I guess there was a combination of long walks, jogging, sprinting. I hope this lighting isn't starting to, I think the sun is starting to go down. My body probably changed the most during that last 15 pounds of weight loss. I would certainly say it would be due to my resistance training. I started to incorporate a whole lot more of strength training and resistance training, especially resistance training in a HIIT format, if that makes sense, using high intensity interval training. So, I mean, I can do a whole nother video on what those workouts look like for me. That is what started to really transform my body. That is when I really started to see a big difference in how my body looks, because sometimes you can lose the weight but you feel like you kind of just look the same, just smaller. Well, that's how I felt with the first 20 pounds. I'm gonna link it right here. You can click here when I'm finished and look at the video of me losing the weight from 215 to 180 pounds. You'll be able to see that last 15 pounds is when you can kind of tell a drastic difference in the shape of my body. When I started incorporating that resistance training and that HIIT training, oh my goodness, like my waist just started to get really small, and just the proportions just started to become exactly what I like to see. Would I recommend what I did? Sure. I think that the way I started this the first 35 pounds, I highly recommend anybody who is just brand new to this and they haven't dieted or exercised in years. I'd say start there. Just start walking every day and just cut back on how much you eat. Now the military diet, I mean, give it a try if you want to. I didn't notice any negative effects, but you're gonna have to get moving a little bit more if you're gonna keep whatever you lose off from the military diet. And that third part, intermittent fasting, absolutely. I definitely recommend it. Cutting out processed carbs and sugars, I think different body types can handle those processed carbs and sugars differently. So I don't know, do some research, try it, maybe give it a try. Maybe for a week cut out processed carbs and sugar and see how your body takes it. But I recommend it because it works for me. I know some people get cranky if they cut out too much of the carbs and stuff. So try it, like I said. HIIT training and strength training, definitely. You have to. If you want to see your body really transform, you gotta add strength training. You gotta add that. And I say HIIT training is the best because you get a lot done in a very short amount of time. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps somebody. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe. Right now you can just hit that little red button that says subscribe. You'll be the first to get notified when I upload new videos, and you really are going to want to get notified when I upload this whole month. February is going to be fantastic with the uploads, especially if you're interested in weight loss and fashion. So go ahead and hit subscribe right now. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember to take care of yourself. See you next time.